Let's go make a killing.
All right.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
10 to the 5 to the 4, play one, touchdown!
The sharpest football contest show in the land.
I'll take the action. My Birds, Benjamin Franklin's team, favored by 1.5 points. I'll give you 3 more.
You're now riding shotgun with 2 former contest winners in Brady, Kannon and James Salinas. And getting a former player's perspective with 9-year NFL veteran Mike Pritchard.
Let's go!
As they guide you through strategy, process, and your contest picks each and every week of the season.
I do like the idea of a parlay.
Now here's your host, Brady Kannon.
Welcome in, everybody. It is week 15 in the NFL season. Just 4 weeks remain in the regular season in Las Vegas football contest play. It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas SuperBook. I am Brady Kannon, along with my friends Mike Pritchard and James Salinas. Gentlemen, great to be back with you. Let's take a look at what happened in week 14. The 5K Super Survivor at the Westgate, it's done. There was 8 entries going in to week 14. 6 were on the Buccaneers. 1 was on the Cleveland Browns. The sole survivor on the Seattle Seahawks, MMR 2025, takes home the cash, $555,000. Congratulations to them. In Circa, of course, the carnage also falls to the Buccaneers and the Cleveland Browns. Also, a couple of entries taken out by the Philadelphia Eagles. In the end, 45 entries going in, only 10 remain. We'll get into that conversation when we hit the Circa Survivor section of the show, but a lot of big favorites to choose from here in week 15. As far as the against the spread contest, the SuperContest and the Circa Sports Million, the SuperContest consensus went 4-1. A good week for the majority. However, in Circa, another 2-3 week. We went 3-2 in both contests, a solid week. We continue to do pretty darn well, but we've got to, again, continue to go against the grain, try and make a splash and see if we can find our way into some money. It's a nice season, but we've got to go a little bit rogue here if we're going to get anything out of it. All right, guys, let's get into the card here for week 15. We break down just about every game. We've got a full card this week, so we may not get to a couple of these weird ones where we have, I don't know, grandpas playing quarterback. Let's start with the Cardinals and the Texans. The Texans, 5 wins in a row. The last 2 big ones over the Colts and the Chiefs. James, I'll start with you. They're laying a big number here, 9.5 in both contests to the Arizona Cardinals, who have lost 5 in a row.
Jacoby Brissett a grandpa, Brady? I feel like he's been in the league for a long, long time, too. He kind of moves like a grandpa. I don't think he moves much better than Phillip Rivers is going to be coming in for the Indianapolis Colts if he actually ends up starting against Seattle. That's a bad matchup there. But talk about contrarian, or more so just having to go against the grain, Brady, like you said. I think that's what fits this Cardinals team right here for getting 9.5 in the contest. Not so much because they're going to come in and this is a great matchup for the Cardinals in the spot. It really isn't. You know, they've got a lot of injuries on the offensive side. The one thing we have seen out of Brissett, whether he's a grandfather or not, is he has been leading the league in completions, attempts, yards, everything else from a quarterback standpoint since he's come in, since week six when Kyler Murray went down. I think a lot of that is because it's a lot of garbage passes, right? A lot of garbage time. They've been behind in a lot of games, particularly against the Rams. San Francisco comes to mind a few weeks back, but he has been on time with his receivers out there, in particular with Trey McBride. Now thinking about the scheduling standpoint here, Pritch, that's what kind of gravitates me towards taking the number here with the Cardinals is the Texans side. The defense, best defense in the league, especially that front, the way that they rush the passer, not a good matchup for alleged grandfather Brissett in this game. But I think the scheduling spot and the kind of the emotional letdown that I expect that we'll see from this Texans team. You look at the last 3 games for the Texans, vaulted themselves back into playoff contention for sure, and back into divisional race championship for sure in the AFC South. is looking at where the Texans have been the last 3 weeks. Finally knocked off their nemesis on the road at Kansas City and the Chiefs the week before, winning at Indianapolis, big divisional game, and then beating Buffalo on that Thursday night. So 3 huge conference wins for the Texans. Now you've got a non-conference game against a bad football team with the Cardinals coming in. This just feels like an emotionally flat spot for me with the Texans here, Pritch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we're talking about just getting inside a number, not trying to win the game. I mean, the Texans trying to stay with Jacksonville within that division. Certainly, they probably will win the game. But from a preparation standpoint, yeah, getting ready for this one or getting up for this one emotionally, completely different than what they did last week against Kansas City, and certainly what's in the future of their schedule. So I agree with that sentiment. You know, the thing about Arizona and how they will approach this game, you know, is it do we go out there and we feel like we're going to win this game, or can we go out there and just make plays and see what happens? And a lot of times when you're on these teams that you're not going anywhere, you're trying to evaluate things. Certainly as a player, you're trying to make your mark and you're trying to secure a job moving forward. You want to make sure you're playing well, right? I mean, we're talking about pretty much the backups for Arizona against the front line of Houston. And that really isn't a great matchup from that standpoint. But from an effort standpoint and getting up for the game and saying, look, I have nothing to lose. All I got to do is go out there and perform and see what happens. There's no pressure on Arizona. So I can see that. I mean, this number is a big number. You know, you think about point spreads in the National Football League, you see about how many teams are so evenly matched. When you get stretched outside of 7.5 to 2 possessions, 8 points, 9 points, I mean, that gets difficult to me as well in terms of trying to lay it that way. So Brady, from a contrarian standpoint, and maybe from a stranger danger standpoint, nobody's going to touch the Cardinals. I mean, I kind of like that situation.
Yeah, well, I tell you, a couple of games that are going to probably fly under the radar without much attention are also the Raiders at the Eagles and the Jets at the Jaguars. The Raiders are very weird cover last week in the final seconds with a field goal that didn't matter. Philadelphia loses on Monday night to the Chargers. They're laying a big number here. The Jets laying a huge number because we expect Brady Cook to play. If it was Tyrod Taylor, I would love the Jets here. This is an awful scheduling spot for the Jaguars. It's also a bad scheduling spot, James, for the Chicago Bears. They come off of Green Bay. Now they face the lowly Cleveland Browns. It's going to be miserably cold at Soldier Stadium. Next week, they'll play the Green Bay Packers again at home, and then they travel to San Francisco. So how do Caleb Williams and company react here off of a loss at home hosting Cleveland?
I'm more concerned with, do the Browns show up for this game? One, their injury list is super long here. Offensive tackle, the offensive line's decimated. We know that Shadur Sanders is playing hero ball, holding the ball way too long, and he just won't let a play go. It's just not in his nature. So I think that's really cost him. It definitely cost him in that game against Tennessee. And I think there's an opportunistic side here with this Bears defense, in particular that secondary. This team leads the NFL with interceptions at 18. I think a lot of that, they play a lot of zone defense, so a lot of eyes in the backfield. And I think this is where Shadur Sanders is going to make some mistakes, and the Bears want to get right. Now, you think about the weather. Both teams are used to playing in bad weather, but neither team, when it comes to the Browns, this is a team that can't move the football. They can't run the football. It's going to be wind chill factor below 0. This really favors the Bears and that ground game. I like the Bears. It's a big number, but I like the Bears. I don't think the Browns show up. I'll lay the 7.5 with Chicago.
There's no doubt they have the better rushing attack. We've got a big one when we come back in the AFC East, the Bills and the Patriots. We'll be right back on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Looking for your next ultimate golf experience? Discover Valley High Golf Club, a tropical paradise on the Las Vegas Strip, featuring lush greenery, water features, Balinese tropical plants, white sand, and black volcanic rock, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Valley High creates a memorable golf experience for a typical foursome, a group celebrating a bachelor or bachelorette party, or your next corporate outing. It's award-winning golf on the Strip, Vegas style. Book your ultimate golf experience now at valleyhighgolfclub.com.
Steiner's, a Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best keno and video poker in Las Vegas. Promos are how we roll, so make the most of your gaming dollars with ongoing promotions, daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win Knights, Raiders, Aviators tickets, and big money with all those jackpots. It's not only great gaming at Steiner's, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and the best appetizers to match. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, with 3 locations across the Vegas Valley. Steiner's, I love this place.
All right, guys, this is probably the game of the week. We are in Foxborough for the Patriots hosting the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots off of a bye week. They've won 10 in a row. Now, Mike, you know I typically like to bet against a team coming out of a bye that is on such a roll going in, and that would have me on the Buffalo Bills here. I think a lot of people feel that Buffalo is going to avenge that loss earlier this season up in Orchard Park when the Pats surprised everybody there. That took us out of Circa Survivor. You remember that one well. So do the Bills and Josh Allen come in here and get revenge? I'm not so sure. It's pick'em in the Circa Sports Million. Buffalo's favored by a point in the SuperContest.
You know, I tend to think or feel, and I got some good reasons. I found some edges in this one that Buffalo will go up there in a pick'em situation and take care of business. You know, when you go on a bye week so late in the year, you know, that typically helps a veteran-laden team, right? As you're trying to make that run. But this is a young team, man. This is a team that certainly has surprised a lot of people. I'd call them an outlier, even though you do believe in Vrabel and the coaching staff and Josh McDaniels back in his role as offense coordinator, one of the best ever to do it. You sit back and you start to feel it, right? You start to understand, oh, man, we're at first place. We could be the number 1 seed. Oh, good Lord, right? And so all this pressure that you never anticipated starts to build up. Whereas each and every week you're going out there and playing football. You're in a routine, right? You're going out there practicing. Okay, we got another game on our schedule. But now that you really had a chance to take a breath and really look at everything, I wonder how that's settling in for New England. Now on the other side, Buffalo, they're hitting on all cylinders right now. I mean, they scored 15 touchdowns in the last 5 games. They got so much offense. And here's the edge. You wouldn't expect this, but from a first-place team like New England, but they're 32nd in the league in red zone defense. In other words, their opponents are scoring 73% in the red zone touchdowns, not field goals, touchdowns. So now you have the 6 eligible back with Josh Allen. Then you have certainly all the options back from an offense and what they're doing. That's going to be tough for New England just to change their ways and go from last in the league and preventing touchdowns to all of a sudden stopping Buffalo. And I think Buffalo kind of matches up. And certainly the revenge factor, the motivation factor is going to be all there for Buffalo too. So I like it from a pick'em situation. I like Buffalo. I know that they were favorite before and a lot of money is coming in on New England. But I think, James, Buffalo gets it done up there.
You make a good case, Pritch. This one I really just didn't have a good feel for. I think, and sometimes you remember back when they lost in, was it week 5? I think it was week 5 when New England went in on Sunday night. Bills were a pretty hefty favorite and just didn't. I don't think the Bills came ready to play and they got out coached. And I think this is what we've seen from New England, that, you know what, coaching does matter in this league. It matters in all sports and definitely in the NFL too, when you're talking about matchups and getting guys inspired and putting people in the right positions and playing to their strengths. And I think that's absolutely what Vrabel's done. Vrabel's done a remarkable job. Yes, Pritch, to your point, this is a very young football team, and that's what you don't want to have happen coming in right now. You're on that roll. You want to keep playing and keep grinding away the way that you have. So from what you put in perspective here for this Bills team, I mean, it's going to be a desperate Bills team. This pretty much clinches the division for the Patriots. They win this football game at home. I'm kind of with you. You made a good case, Pritch, and I kind of side with that one. It's just it's a coin toss game. That's why the number is where it is, Brady. I can side with Pritch on this. I just didn't have a good feel coming in, so it's not a great handicap for me, fellas.
Yeah, there's a lot of different directions I can go with this one. And I agree. Mike makes a great case. And you guys know, I said it right from the top. I love to bet against a team coming out of a bye that's on a roll. And that's exactly what New England is. We'll see if that makes our card or not. All right, James, I know you like this game. The Kansas City Chiefs, boy, It's not the same Chiefs we've been used to in the Patrick Mahomes era. They'll take on Justin Herbert and the Chargers. The Chargers looking to sweep Kansas City. Remember, way back in week 1 when they took care of the Chiefs, I think that game was in Brazil. Well, here they meet again. This is at Arrowhead. The Chiefs at home, 4.5 points in the SuperContest, and in the Circa contest, it's 5.5. So which way you leaning here, James?
I was surprised the number is where it is, unless there's something with her. And we know Herbert's dealing with that hand injury and aggravated. It's going to continue to be aggravated. He's going to get hit. Although I really like that defensive front and that pass rush from the Eagles to get after the quarterback much more than I would Kansas City coming into this matchup for Justin Herbert. This is an opportunity for the Chargers to step on the throat. This is every team's been dreaming of this for the last 9-10 years, Pritch, to go in and finally slay the dragon that is the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, who have dominated the AFC for better part of the last decade. I'm just surprised this number is as high as it is. To me, as long as Herbert is out there, 4.5 and 5.5 in the 2 contests respectively, I think Kansas City, it was all on the line last week. The play calling, going for it at your own 30, 4th and 1 with the momentum and the game's tied with plenty of time to go in the 4th quarter. I didn't like the play call that we saw out of Kansas City. It really flipped the game and ended for most part their postseason chances. Why are we seeing this number where it is? I like the Chargers, Pritch.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation. I think you give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt, home field advantage anyway. I think the books are still doing that. Andy Reid has never lost 8 games as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, let alone Patrick Mahomes never losing 7 games as he's done so far as a starting quarterback too. So when you look at the Chiefs, they got to go undefeated down the stretch just to make the playoffs, right? And this is a chance for them to knock off the Chargers. But like you said, James, this is a chance for the Chargers to knock off the Chiefs. What I have seen is a willingness for the Chargers to be very, very physical and tough, right? And what I've seen at times is Kansas City avoiding that. Now, you do have some competitive pride on the line from Kelsey dropping passes and some other people, but the consistency is what I worry about with Kansas City. So, yeah, a great opportunity for Chargers to get inside that number, in my opinion, as well.
Another good one when we come back. We go from the AFC West to the AFC North, a rematch. We saw the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow take out the Ravens on Thanksgiving. Will the Ravens extract revenge here on Sunday in Cincinnati? We'll be back with more in just a moment.
San Diego is home to Wolfpack Hospitality Restaurants, located in beautiful La Jolla. Stop by Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria on your next trip. Visit Cove House, a top 100 brunch in California, or Shore Rider, serving up margaritas, fish tacos, and a vibe that will make you feel like a regular in no time. For a slice of New York-style pizza with a California twist, it's Dough Mama Pizzeria, where the wings and pizza draw compliments from around the world. Go to wolfpackhospitality.com, and we will look forward to seeing you at Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria.
Welcome back into the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas SuperBook. Brady Kannon, James Salinas, and Mike Pritchard with you, making our way through the Week 15 card. And we land on the Ravens and the Bengals, this time in Cincinnati, the second version of this matchup that we've seen in the last few weeks. Of course, Joe Burrow returning to action, upsetting the Baltimore Ravens, taking 100 people or so out of Circa Survivor. Just a train wreck that Joe Burrow caused for all kinds of contests around the country. And now it's the rematch. And I'll tell you what, Pritch, I kind of like the Ravens this time around. They have played 3 games in a row at home, and they've lost 2 of them. I think this change is good. You know this as a former player. For a team to get out on the road, get out of Dodge, reset, and find their focus again and not have that pressure of being under the spotlight of being in Baltimore. And now, obviously, you have a division game that'll have their full attention. I think this is a good spot for Baltimore to even the series here with the Cincinnati Bengals. I know you're thinking the other side.
Yeah, I'm looking at Cincinnati, Brady, and, there's a lot of noise with Joe Burrow and whether it's mental health or whatever he's going through. There's always this speculation, he's going to be traded to the Rams and all this stuff. But, who knows what's going to happen? Joe Burrow loves football, though. I mean, no doubt, right? There's no doubt about that. And I think when you look at the Ravens and the makeup of them, I look at the reasons why they faltered. Now, they are an aging roster. They are banged up. Lamar Jackson has not been the superstar Lamar Jackson. And so the Ravens don't look like that elite team anymore. Also the lack of practice time for Lamar Jackson, that's showing up. I mean, he had wide open guys and he missed them. He underthrew them, and he's not seeing the field when you're not practicing. Now, he did practice yesterday, and he'll supposedly practice again today. But that is needed, right? And so can he amp it up? Can he turn it up like that a few notches on the road against Cincinnati, who I think Cincinnati's been fighting, and certainly defensively they've improved. And this is where, you got people trying to make their mark. You got a new defense coordinator up there in Cincinnati. You got a head coach trying to hold on to a job. You got players that are trying to, certainly make some incentives at this point. I just think from an explosive standpoint, Chase Brown, all these guys are stepping up, and, to the tune of 13 touchdowns the last 5 games. The Ravens are just sitting at 10, which they've blown a lot of opportunities as well, Brady, talking about the Ravens in terms of execution. So I just don't see it consistently. Now I might eat my words this week, right? They might just all of a sudden find that switch, like you mentioned, away from home on the road. But for me, in catching the points, the amount of points from a divisional standpoint that Cincinnati is catching, James, I'm attracted to that side.
Yeah, I think about Burrow and, some of the comments he made the other day about just where he's at psychologically. And it could be, who knows what's going on in his personal life, but being consistently injured throughout your time, that wears you down too. And we know the laundry list of injuries that he's had to go through, including this season, and really not being able to perform on the field a whole lot. The Bengals being able to score the ball. Yeah, that's where to your point, Pritch, with Lamar Jackson and the lack of practice time, he's only thrown 1 touchdown in the last 4 games. So definitely off the mark, older roster here. Jamar Chase has really lit up the Baltimore Ravens in his 9 games as a Bengal. He's got 8 touchdowns and over 1,000 yards receiving. So it all lines up for the Bengals to say, we're going to drive them at home. And to your point, Brady, that's probably where Baltimore wins this game.
Yeah, and also T. Higgins out with a concussion in this one. James, let's talk Commanders and Giants. We've been successfully on or against the Commanders the last couple weeks. We're on them against the Broncos, went against them last week against the Vikings. I kind of like being on them here. Now, the Giants are coming off of a bye. Does that help this team in New York and their interim coach?
Yeah, I don't know where it's the interim coach, the stuff that's going on in the locker room with the coaching staff, the front office, just a lot of things swirling around. Although Jackson Dart, he inspires guys. I think, Pritch, he comes out there and gives them a great effort to win. I don't have a good feel for this game. It's probably not a game that I'm going to bet or even make my card.
Yeah, I'm looking at Washington. I mean, they got blanked on the road, and this is a divisional game. There's so much turmoil going on with the Giants. As a player, we always wanted to find out who the informant was, because you got to avoid the informant with the personal business. The informant is Kafka, the head coach. So I don't know who's going to play for that guy at this point, certainly as an interim head coach.
This could be one that a lot of people stay away from. Maybe it's a good one to play in the contest. We will see. Circa Survivor talk when we come back right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
When the football contest crew isn't busy dominating the field and making plays that leave opponents in the dust, they're doing something just as exciting. They're playing My Vegas Slots. It's a top-ranked, free-to-play mobile app that lets you earn valuable real-world rewards from amazing partners like MGM Grand, Bellagio, and Norwegian Cruise Line. You can score hotel stays, great meals, show tickets, and more just for playing. Download My Vegas Slots today from your favorite app store. And if you're anything like Brady, James, and Mike, we know you're going to love it. That's a winning play you won't want to miss.
Check us out online. It's footballcontestshow.com. Everything you need to find out about the program, where you can find the podcast, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. All of our picks are listed there, our great sponsors. Again, footballcontestshow.com. All right, Survivor contests in Las Vegas. One of them is over. MMR 2025 is the winner of the $5,000 Super Survivor at the Westgate. Again, week 14 saw some carnage. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took out a lot of people. The Cleveland Browns took out a lot of people. This gentleman was on the Seattle Seahawks. He walks away with over $550,000. Congratulations to MMR 2025. Circa Survivor, still 10 entries alive after 35 were taken out in week 14. That ticket you purchased for $1,000 over the summer, now worth 1.87 milski. You wonder if these 10 remaining entries have a deal worked out between them. Some people think they don't. Some people have come out and already said who they're picking. I believe one guy said he's taking the Eagles. One guy said he's taking the Jaguars. Well, I can tell you 6 entries of the 10 have the Jaguars left. 9 have the Eagles left. 6 have the 49ers left. 5 have the Cowboys left. 1 has the Bears. 3 have the Texans. You wonder if anybody was on the Buccaneers on Thursday night. 8 people had the Buccaneers left going into week 15. James, let's start with the 49ers. This is going to be, I believe, a very popular Survivor play. Against the spread, I'm not so sure I know what to do with it.
Yeah, as far as Survivor goes, you look at where San Francisco is, and really another, from the coaching standpoint with Shanahan, we were talking about Vrabel, and coaching matters in all sports and in NFL notwithstanding, but think about all the huge injuries, especially on the defensive side of the football, lost for the season for the San Francisco 49ers, and how they've been able to just band-aid and patchwork this team back together. It was kind of an aging team on that side of the football for San Francisco. A lot of young defensive linemen being coached up and fitting in, and then now being almost fully healthy on the offensive side. This is going to be a scary team as a wild card team coming in to the NFC playoffs next month are the San Francisco 49ers. But who do they have left remaining? If you're looking at, well, what other games do they have on the schedule? It's a tough schedule down the stretch for the San Francisco 49ers. At Indianapolis on Monday night. Who knows who's going to be the quarterback, but it's still a road game on prime time in Indy. Then you're hosting Chicago on Sunday Night Football, a team fighting for the playoffs, and then Seattle. Where's Seattle going to be at in that NFC West race? I think ultimately here, that's the play I would be looking at if you had San Francisco. Best spot on for the remaining month of the season for the 49ers from a standpoint of the ATS, Mike, minus 12.5 and minus 13 in the contest, respectively. I mean, did the Titans win that game, or did Shadur Sanders and the Browns lose that game? I tend to think it was the latter. They were terrible in that matchup. The Browns were just awful, couldn't stop the run. Tony Pollard ran for 160 plus yards against that vaunted alleged defense for the Browns. I would say this is probably going to be a one-way street for San Francisco. I could only lay it from against a spread standpoint, Mike.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, laying that many points, though, is kind of crazy to think about. But from a Survivor standpoint, absolutely. I mean, I go gravitate towards offense and at this point in your options, right? Because scheme is one thing, and we know that your scheme has been exposed from a tendency standpoint. You know, you got all these cut-ups all year long, down in distance. I mean, every situation imaginable. So what's left? Well, matchups are left, right? Can you create matchups? Certainly San Francisco can create matchups. It doesn't matter who it is. They got one of the better play callers in the league to do that with. And that makes it impossible for you to be right defensively. Okay, let's take Greg Kittle. Well, okay, now you got Run CMC, right? Let's take away him. Okay, well, now you got Jennings and you got some other players that certainly Kyle Shanahan can scheme towards. And to your point too, James, this young defense bought into Robert Saleh, and another reason why he's being mentioned for another head coaching opportunity. Because with all those injuries on that side of the ball, I'm talking about some key injuries. I'm talking about some all-world type of players. That defense has really held them together and allowed Kyle to be aggressive offensively. And so, yeah, I mean, this is an outclass situation. Certainly, I expect a lot of people to favor the 49ers in this matchup.
Mike, what about the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings? This is Sunday night football. Dallas, a big favorite. Now, they also play on Christmas. Now, there's 5 of the 10 entries have Dallas left. You got to figure they're probably saving the Cowboys for Christmas. Do we even make it to Christmas?
Well, I mean, you're looking at availability, certainly. And I mean, Cowboys against the Commanders is something that you would want to entertain from a Survivor standpoint. You know, you got some entries, was it 5, like you mentioned, too, that have them available. I can't get there with the Lions, Brady, and I'm just thinking about the Christmas Day contest show when I think about the Cowboys. And so you want to save them, obviously. And even though you got an opportunity now, I just, for whatever reason, that's got to be, and those 5 people that have that entry, they got to be thinking that way. Now, as far as this week with the Cowboys, this was a tricky one because I would lay it. I certainly would lay it with the Cowboys because I think the Vikings and that quarterback situation has been highly inconsistent. Had a solid game last week against a not ill-prepared football team, though. I think the Cowboys are trying to eye this race and trying to eye some other things within their schedule. Some players are coming back. Even CeeDee Lamb looks like he's going to be able to play. So I think with Dak Prescott playing the way he has, 10 touchdown passes and in the last few weeks here, I mean, it's been incredible and consistent that way. So it's an opportunity from a contest that we're in with millions and certainly the SuperContest to lay it here with the Cowboys. Guys, what do you guys think?
Dallas is not out of contention for the playoffs and even the division, how poorly Philadelphia has played. And is that all of a sudden going to turn out? Yes, they get the Raiders this week, but I think from the ATS perspective for the Cowboys, I mean, for Minnesota, it was, and we were on the contrarian side with that, with the Minnesota Vikings, anticipating that Washington, because of the line move and so many folks just going after the CLV when it comes to stale lines or static lines with these contests. That's not the case here this week. And hosting on Sunday Night Football, wanting to get right, 10 days to prepare. That CeeDee Lamb is back. Probably the biggest point is, what does George Pickens look like? A lot of criticism in that game over Pickens and his lack of effort going after kind of 50-50 balls that were out there against that Lions team and not showing the effort, and a lot of validation as far as why Pittsburgh jettisoned him off of that roster. But aside from that, I think from the matchup here, this is probably where it is. I think we see the real JJ McCarthy stand up, or maybe not stand up in this game, not being able to make wide open throws like he did last week and not being able to match point per point against the Dallas Cowboys here, Brady. I think this is the spot where you lay it with the Cowboys ATS.
Yep, I would agree with you. Let me ask you this, James. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles, the biggest favorites on the board. Who would you feel most comfortable about in Survivor? And everybody still has those teams available.
Probably Jacksonville, just because of where they're at, playing at home on a roll defensively. Now, long term, yeah, I think you probably want to save Jacksonville for the last week of the season because they host Tennessee, unless they've already got the division wrapped up, and maybe they do. I don't know. But from that standpoint, I think just where the Jets are offensively, rookie quarterback Brady Cook having to start, just a complete mess offensively. I think this is a game where Jacksonville, aside from the number, that's a big number. I think they probably cover that too, but Jacksonville would be the play for me as far as Survivor goes.
All right, we come back in just a minute here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Stick around.
Want to gamble like the pros? At LasVegasAdvisor.com, you'll find the world's best how-to books, software, and strategy cards featuring blackjack, poker, video poker, and of course, sports betting, including the Stanford Wong Classic Sharp Sports Betting. Don't forget LVA's Member Rewards coupon book, offering discounts on dining and entertainment, including a buy one, get one for the awesome lobster buffet at the Palms, and more than $700 in gambling-free play, match play, and bonus offers. Up your gambling game today at LasVegasAdvisor.com.
Las Vegas isn't just a place to play, it's a great place to live. Louis Payon with Magenta Real Estate is a trusted 5-star real estate professional who's called Vegas home for over 3 decades. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Louis will guide you every step of the way with proven strategies that deliver results. Call Louis today at 702-849-7160. That's 702-849-7160. Louis Payon is the official realtor of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Well, how about that? This week in the late window, we have 5 games. Boy, isn't that nice? The last 2 weeks, 3 games in the late window. Thanks, Raj. We appreciate the 5 this week. And it gets started at Mile High with the Denver Broncos hosting the Green Bay Packers. A good one here. And the Packers come in as road favorites, fresh off of their victory over the Chicago Bears. The Denver Broncos, I think it's 10 wins in a row, right there with the New England Patriots for this team. Bo Nix and company at home as a dog, James Salinas, a unfamiliar role for your team there down the street.
I was really shocked. I didn't look at any matchups or any scheduling or anything coming into this week 15 until early this morning when I got up. I'm an early riser, so I focus better in the morning than I do late in the evening. And I was shocked that Denver was a 2.5-point dog in this matchup. And I get it. Green Bay, everybody's seen them, and they've got, when they're right, they're prolific on offense. And I think they're really stretching the field offensively. And I think that really is due to the heart and soul of that team, and that offense in particular is Josh Jacobs. And what a toughness he brings to that roster, and the way that he runs the football and the way that he inspires his teammates here. But this is going to be a hell of a defensive front with that front 7 that is going to be highly motivated here as that underdog playing at home here, Pritch. And where Denver has been, this isn't just it's a non-conference. I mean, it's the Packers coming into town. They don't come in very frequently, so there's going to be plenty of cheeseheads here in Mile High, but they are coming to elevation. So not as many cervezas or brews that are going to go down for those cheeseheads. Be careful of the altitude. It hits you a lot faster here when you start to get after it here in Denver. But I think from this standpoint, not only with the elevation from the Green Bay Packers coming into this matchup, but also the huge win that they had last week, bookend with another big game really for the division against the Chicago Bears on the road in Chicago next week. And think about where they've been playing, Pritch. I want to get your perspective on this as a former player. This has been a long season. We know it's a long season. Green Bay they played the bye start in the NFL in week 5. That's the last time that Green Bay has had a week off. They had the bye in week 5. So they have been grinding through the entirety of this schedule. There's a lot of injuries on this team. A lot of folks kind of limping into this game with a big game on deck against the Bears for the division. This just smells like not a flat spot for Green Bay, but a hungry spot for Denver, taking advantage of playing in the Mile High City against a team that's kind of a little weary here coming in to this matchup in Denver.
Yeah, I mean, think about last week's game against Chicago and how that was pretty much a grudge match. LaFleur versus Ben Johnson, right? You saw that handshake at the end of the game. That was a hair on fire game. That was we got to win this game, and certainly the emotions were all enthralled in that game too for Green Bay, and they did a great job. I mean, we mentioned it on the show last week. Like, if they execute, this team is hard to beat, and I still don't think they played their best game. I mean, I think that's still in front of them, but now you go on the road, and this is a different animal because playing in Power Field there with the Broncos on top, that is just as much of a home field advantage that you would say about Arrowhead. When the Broncos are winning and they're looking like they're going to be a playoff team and certainly have a chance to the Super Bowl, that Denver crowd is incredible. And I don't know if the Packers have realized that. I don't think they haven't seen the Broncos this way, right? Any player on that team, including Josh Jacobs, when he was with the Raiders. So looking for edges to the Broncos, number 1 defense in third down situations, number 1 in preventing touchdowns, 40%, where you have the Green Bay Packers number 1 on offense on third down situations and number 2 in scoring in the red zone. Something's got to give there, right? And you did mention Josh Jacobs. Now, he's dealing with a knee injury, and reading some comments and reading some headlines or some stories, he's dealing with swelling in that knee. So that's like meniscus and that's that kind of thing, right? He's getting that thing drained and certainly taking some medicine on game day to help him manage that. So, that's something to keep an eye on and to think about. And you're right, without him, they're going to have to rely completely on Love. And I don't think he's ready for that yet. So not against this defense either. I like the Broncos, Brady. I mean, the Broncos, they are not a risky offense. They want to be high percentage. I think Bo Nix hopefully has gotten rid of being risky with the football and eliminates the turnovers, in particular the interceptions. And if he can do that, then certainly the Broncos have a solid chance of winning this game.
Let's shift over to Los Angeles. Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford facing their former teams. A great matchup here with the Rams and the Lions. And it's lost a little bit of luster here because, James, the Lions are so injured. And I really think these are the best two teams in the NFL. But the caveat is when the Lions are healthy. And, now Brian Branch is gone. Sam Laporta, the offensive line. It's a shame because this is one heck of a football team. Can they stay within the number here against the big bad Rams?
This is kind of that wounded animal are the Lions. You got a wounded Lions coming into this matchup here, fellas. And it's they're a 6-point dog against the Rams. And I get it. The Rams are slinging the football all over the place, although Devontae Adams still dealing with a hamstring injury. I know Brian Branch is a hitter, Pritch, but he also is sometimes a detriment to that team, making stupid plays, unsportsmanlike plays, late hits, dumb things after the whistle. We play between the whistles, not afterwards. He tended to play a lot afterwards and kind of put them in the hole here. But this just feels like a team, Detroit. We know that they can balance and they can run the football. Gibbs has been sensational this season, along with Singletary. They're able to pound the football. And I think the last time we saw that Rams defense kind of get pushed around against Carolina a couple of weeks back, getting run on. I think this is going to be the Lions. Really, their game plan is control the football, keep Stafford and that offense on the sideline. We know they roll the dice and go for it on fourth down a lot. I think they see the same thing here. Detroit this is their season right now. I think they come to play. I like getting 6.
Yeah, James, this is a great matchup. I mean, the Lions, one of the interpretations I have still is the play calling. Why as a head coach, why did he take over play calling? Now, it worked for him against Dallas. And that was a great game in terms of executing. But this game, man, they're going to have to really be honing in on ready to execute against the Rams. And to me, I think that's a tall order. Brady, what do you think?
Well, it is interesting, Mike. You bring up a good point. The Lions come in with extra rest, having played last Thursday. We'll see if that makes a difference. We get to our picks next, right here, as we wrap up the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to enter the biggest and best football contests in Las Vegas? Look no further than footballcontest.com to get the info you need to succeed. Covering Circa Million, Circa Survivor, Grandissimo, and every super contest at the Westgate SuperBook. Reserve the most trusted proxy service in the business now at footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have been leaders in the industry for 20 years. They submit your picks while you focus on picking winners. Experience matters. Go with the pros at footballcontest.com and start winning now.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas SuperBook. Brady Kannon, James Salinas, and Mike Pritchard with you. Wrapping up week 15 in the NFL. Only 4 weeks remain. It is time to get your contest game going here because we're running out of runway. Guys, here are our picks for week 15. And we're going with the same 5 in both the Circa Sports Million and the Westgate SuperContest. Going with the Cardinals, plus 9.5 against the Houston Texans. We'll take the Bears, laying 7.5 against the Cleveland Browns. The Commanders, catching 2.5 on the road at the New York Giants. We'll take the Broncos at home, getting 2 points in the SuperContest, getting 2.5 in Circa Sports Million. And we'll take the Dolphins on Monday night, getting 3 and a hook to a Tagovailoa. Not good in frigid temperatures. Supposed to be a high of 18 degrees on Monday in Pittsburgh, James. I know you really like Tua to reverse the curse and be able to get it done in the cold weather.
Yeah, and this is not a contrarian play for me, and this is not about Tua. Actually, it's kind of the anti-Tua play here because what we've seen since Tyreek Hill went down in week 4, and it took the Miami Dolphins a little bit of time, a couple games to adjust what they were doing offensively. This has become a ground and pound football team. They've won. What did they won? 5 out of 6 games. This is a team that, I mean, they're still at the bottom of the standings when it comes to on the outside looking in to get in the playoffs. They're sitting in 11th place in the AFC to get in the playoff, to get themselves in the playoffs. So obviously they've got to win out, but they've been doing that lately. They've won 5 out of 6 games, Pritch. And the difference with this team is recommitting to getting physical up front, running the football. Their center's a great athlete, Brewer, man. He gets out, pulls, he knocks guys out. He is a terrific player. I think he's probably an unsung player on that offensive line. I know that whole offense for Miami to that standpoint, but you think about those 5 wins that they've had in the last 6 weeks, they have completely switched. And this is a running football team now. What they've done over those 5 games, they've averaged 35 attempts rushing and only 22 passing. So they're taking the ball out of Tua's hands. It's not on him to have to go throw the ball. So maybe this is, it's Tua in bad weather and the Miami Dolphins going out there. Well, this is a team that has changed their identity rushing the football, and that translates well against the Pittsburgh team, Pritch, that doesn't stop the run. They're one of the worst run defenses in the league. They give up the most first downs on rushing. So teams are 3rd and 5. We don't need to spread them out and throw it. We're going to run the football. And that's what they've been doing. We've seen it all season long from this Pittsburgh team, not being able to stop the run. The fact that Miami has recommitted themselves to taking the ball out of the hands of Tua and getting up there and smashing it for 4 quarters. I love teams that make that identity. And I think that fits well here against a really run suspect defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, they don't want to be physical anymore. I mean, those guys, they were illustrated to where they were just standing up and being manhandled at the line of scrimmage not too long ago. So pad level too high and all that stuff. But Mike McDaniel, going back to his roots, I mean, he was the run game coordinator with the 49ers before getting the head job with Miami. So now he's going back to what got him that head coaching job. So I think the embracing of players to a different approach from the coaching staff has also paid off for Miami. So, yeah, I mean, I like that situation. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers, and there's too many things going on with the Steelers. I mean, TJ Watt with being hospitalized as well. It's just an older football team that down the stretch, I mean, we've seen Pittsburgh, have the propensity to kind of stumble down the stretch. And it feels like that could be in the cards again this year for the Steelers.
I mentioned it earlier this week on another show that I thought a good prop bet was take under 18.5 completions for Tua. And I was really thinking about the weather and also the featuring of Devon Achane in the rushing attack now versus throwing the ball for Tua. And, I wasn't even necessarily thinking along the lines of your handicap, James, but I think that prop bet makes a lot of sense as well. Under 18.5 completions for Tua, not only the cold weather, but with the recommitment to the rushing attack as you spell out, James.
Yeah, and they've only thrown the ball 22 times in those 5 wins. So that's where they've taken it out of his hands. And yeah, in this matchup here, because of the cold, it's not going to be consistently throwing the ball. And they're going to get to what got him there and give them an opportunity to win the football game. And that's going to be the running game. So I really like that prop bet too, Brady.
All right, here we go with the 5 selections again for both the Circa Sports Million and the Westgate SuperContest. We're in decent position. We need to continue to make some good moves, positive moves, contrarian moves. Cardinals, Bears, Commanders, Broncos, and Dolphins on Monday night. We'll see you here next week, folks. It's crunch time down the home stretch. Week 16 is next week, right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Don't you just love football? God, what a fun sport.
Subscribe today on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts to receive weekly alerts as soon as the show's available. Good luck with your contest selections.
Pay that man his money.
And we'll talk to you next week.